Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to see poem A Photograph. This poem is written by Shirley Tolson. Now before we start this poem, we have to understand its introduction part. Now the photograph, we are all aware of photograph, right? It's the image which is printed on the paper, colorful image on the paper. This photograph, the poem talks about, is the mother of the poet. When the poet saw the photograph, she went into the past and started memorizing or started remembering her mother, because today her mother is not alive, she is dead. So when the poet saw the photograph, she lost into past, because the photograph was of her mother when she was 12 years old. When poet's mother was 12 years old, that time she went to a particular sea beach along with her cousin sisters and uncle. So that time this photograph was shot by her uncle of these three girls. Let us understand the summary and introduction part. Today we are going to see the introduction and the summary. But once you go through the summary, you will understand what is the poem all about. Then you have to read this poem from your Hornbill textbook. All right, let's go ahead. In this poem, she means the poet. She recalls her mother and her memories while looking at a childhood photograph when her mother was 12 years old or so. So when the poet looks at this photograph, she memories or she tries to remember, or her memories recalls when she looks at this photograph of her mother when she was nearly about 12 years old or so. When mother was 12 years, that time she went to a particular beach and that time this photo was clicked. So the memories of the poet are, they become alive when she sees this photo. Today, her mother is not alive. She's dead. She has been deceased 12 years ago. Deceased means the mother is already dead 12 years ago. And the poet cannot explain her grief. The poet cannot explain her pain of losing her mother. So the poem is a tribute to her mother by herself. The poet wrote this poem to give tribute to her mother, because for the poet, her mother was, of course, a great personality in her life, great person. She is looking at an old photograph of her mother which has a frame of cardboard. Poet is looking at the old photograph of her mother, in which her mother was 12 years old that time this photo was clicked. And this photograph has got a frame of cardboard. The picture has three girls, in which the middle one is the oldest and tallest. In the picture, there are three girls. The middle girl, the girl who is standing in the middle, is the oldest and tallest, and she is the mother of the poet. And the remaining two girls, those who are standing on the either side, they are her cousins. So the one who is standing in the middle is her mother, which is poet's mother. And this photo was shot when the mother was 12 years old or so. Beside her mother, there are two girls. These two girls are her cousins, and their names are Betty and Dolly, who are holding her hands and are younger than her. These two girls, Betty and Dolly, they are the cousins of the poet's mother, and they are holding her hands. They are younger than her. They went for paddling on a beach holiday. They wanted to spend their time. So paddling means for walking. They went for a walk on the beach side. Apart from these three people, there is one more person, that is uncle. Now the person who has clicked the photograph, the person who has clicked this photo is poet's mother's uncle. Her uncle took the photograph then, means poet's mother's uncle. The poet could not help but notice her mother's sweet face. Now, when the poet saw this photograph, she could not able to control herself, right? But one thing that was noticed by poet was that she saw her mother's sweet face. Now, when the photo was taken, that time the mother would be smiling. So the poet, when she saw this photo, he noticed that her mother was very happy that time. The sea touched her terribly transient feet, which depicted that she changed over the years and the sea remained the same. So in the picture, even the photo of the feet of these three girls also has been clicked. It is called as transient feet. The expression transient feet means something that is not permanent, something that changes. Now in the photograph, the feet of these three girls, the poet's mother and the other two cousins of the poet's mother, feet are small. But as the time passed by, the feet enlarged, they became enlarged, right? When they were 12 years old, that time the feet were small. And today, as her mother died, her feet obviously has increased. The feet had increased. The size of the feet had increased. So transient feet means it is not permanent, temporary. The size of the feet was temporary. And over the years, the size of the feet of her mother had increased. But the poet compared the feet of the mother with the sea and says that her feet changed over the years, but the sea remained the same. The sea did not change. Sea water did not change. Everything changed. Her mother was 12 years old. She grew up. She became old. Today she died. Today she died. She is no more. But the sea is as it is. After 20, 30 years, her mother would laugh at the photograph. Now, before the death of the mother, whenever she used to see her photograph, she used to laugh. That was about some 20, 30 years after the photo was clicked. So you can understand, when she was 12 years old, that time the photo was clicked. And from 12 years to 20 years, 30 years, if you go, when she was 42 or 52 years, that time whenever she used to see the photo, she used to laugh. Because that was her childhood photograph. She would make the poet look at the photograph and tell her how their parents would dress them up for the beach holiday. And mother used to tell the poet about her photograph. Whenever the mother used to see the photograph, she used to call the poet and ask the poet to look at the photograph and used to explain the poet about how the mother's parents used to dress them, used to make them get ready to go for beach holiday in those days. The beach holiday was her mother's favorite past memories, while her laugh was the poet's favorite memory. So when mother used to see her photograph, past photograph, this was her favorite past memories. We can say lifetime memories, like the best memory of life. So for mother, this photograph was the best, or we can say favorite past memories. But for poet, the best favorite memory was when she used to look her mother laughing by seeing this photograph. When mother used to laugh by seeing the photograph, that laughing of the mother was the favorite memory of the poet. Both of them lost something which they cherished a lot and yet cannot live that moment again. Both of them means mother has died, she cannot come back. And even the poet also has lost her mother and her mother's smile, which she cannot get back. So both of them have lost something which they cherished a lot, which they used to happily enjoy a lot. Now they cannot get it back again. Now they cannot get that moment back again. Mother cannot go. Mother cannot come. Mother cannot become alive. She cannot get her childhood. Nor the daughter, the poet, who can get her mother's smile again. Those sweet moments were memories now. Ultimately, the sweet moments of the past becomes the memories of the present. Now, the poet's mother had been dead for the past 12 years, which is the same number as of her age when the photograph was taken back then. When the photograph was taken, that time mother was 12 years old, and today when the poet's mother had been dead, it has completed some 12 years. Means the poet, when she saw the photo, that time her mother's death had completed 12 years. So 12 years had passed for the death of her mother when she saw the photograph. And inside the photograph, her mother was also 12 years old when the photo was clicked. She cannot express the grief that she has from her mother's absence. Now, the poet cannot express, the poet cannot show, the poet cannot explain her grief. Grief means her sorrow, her sadness, her pain that she has got from her mother's absence. Her mother is lost, her mother is gone, her mother is dead. So the pain that she has from the death of her mother cannot be expressed by her in mere words. Thank you, everyone.